Hello and welcome to the Tabletop Almanac. My name is Simon. I'm your host for the channel. I am the one who does the reviews, actual plays, and whatever shows up on here. Now, in this episode, I have a review for you, which is going to be maybe a touch different from the way I usually do it. And that is for Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered Player Core, hardback book. Now, if you look in the description for this episode, you will find a link to a written review I did of the original Pathfinder 2 a couple of years ago. That, if you want to know the basics of the rules, that is probably the better place to go to because I'm not going to talk about them too much here. I'm going to mention a few of the changes in the remaster that I particularly like, but there have been other videos done that do the full comparison, that analyze it to a level I'm not interested in doing. But what I am going to do, as somebody who uses both digital and physical products when I run games, so PDFs, VTT options, or actual books, I wanted to talk about the utility of the Player Core book as a manual for the game. So that is going to be the primary criteria on which I'm focusing on when I do this video. So this also comes in Pocket Edition. You can get that too. But the Pocket Editions are awesome. That's what my original PF2 stuff is in. And it's great. It's lightweight. It stays open when you lay it down and it folds. The core book does. I don't know about so much about the supplements because they're much thinner. But nevertheless, okay, so first, the production values of this are probably what you expect from Paizo. These are, the art is great. The art is representative. The depictions are dynamic and exciting, et cetera, right? It's good. The feel of everything's good. It's easy to turn the pages. Nothing weird about that. So let's get to the actual contents of this thing. The way it's laid out, and I have not read any, I don't know what you call them, design diaries, development diaries on this. So if this is not a wholly original thought or not an obvious one, well, don't come at me. The way the book is laid out, and I did find this a bit odd at one point, is that you don't actually get to the full set of rules until page 396. However, you do get a very brief summary of the rules in the beginning, in the section that also has the example of play, where it breaks down the mechanics, that talks about briefly about Golarion and religion in Golarion and how to do character creation. There's some nice summaries. And one of the things they do in that beginning section, and they've done in the other ones too, but let's just mention it anyway, because it's part of the utility of this book, is have images of the iconic members of each class, of the ancestries, talk about the very, very simple mechanics, like which attributes are most important, where can you find more information on these, what page, and so on. So then it directs you to the actual page where you have the full set of information. And for classes, it's about for ancestries is about 4 pages each, and for classes it's somewhere up to 10. I mean, classes go from page 98 to 224, so it covers a lot. The classes and the ancestries also have, and this is in the original too, but it's something I really liked, and again fits the criteria of what I'm talking about, have little snippets that are described as you might, for example, humans, you might strive to achieve greatness, seek to understand your purpose in the world. Others probably respect your flexibility, distrust your intentions, aren't sure what to expect. And having that under ancestry is great as role-playing tips for how to depict them. I don't know if I would innately know how to portray a Leshy, which is the plant person, but what do? They give me that same thing here. encourage civilizations to cooperate with nature. Okay, I guess I probably could have figured that one out. But others probably think you're a curiosity or assume you only know about nature. Again, yeah, I guess I could have figured that out, but it's nice to have it laid out there so I don't have to think of it. The classes do the same. So you get Bard, and then what they do is they talk about what you might have a passion for your art so strong you forge a spiritual connection with it. Take point when tact and nonviolent solutions are required. Okay, good. That's telling you something of what to do during the role play if you're playing a bard. If you're not clear, others probably underestimate you compared to other spellcasters, respond favorably to your charms, blah blah blah. One of the things I think is really helpful about that is especially for new players, because when it gets to their turn or they're creating the character and they're, well, what can my character do? When are they good for something? And if possibly they're sitting around saying, like, I don't get my character, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing with it, it's right here. What's also helpful about the classes is they talk about what you would do typically as that class in the three modes of play. Combat. So the bard would use magical performances to alter odds. During social encounters, you persuade, threaten, etc. While exploring, you are a font of knowledge. Your spells inspire and performances inspire allies. And then in downtime, you can earn money and proceed with performances, gain a name for yourself, and so on. Because I find Pathfinder, I'm just going to say Pathfinder instead of Pathfinder 2, does a better job of depicting the modes or arenas of play, that I do like that they address them here. This is less a large, not large, but less of a small snippet of text. Let's be honest. It's not a wall of text, but it's sizable, and more of a point form. Bam, 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 bam. Here's what you should know playing this. So that's pretty helpful. And one of the things I do like about it. A couple of the remaster changes that I do want to highlight that I like. One, attributes are no longer scores of 3 to 18, whatever. They're now just the modifiers from before. So +3, +4, -1, 0. That's a sacred cow that should have been butchered and devoured when third edition came out, but as they assumed, and I'm sure they were right, the designers felt that people might revolt against that idea. Here, they don't care anymore. Alignment is gone. Also great. Don't care about it. Don't like it. Obviously not the only person, especially of my age, who doesn't like alignment, but it's just simpler when it's not there. I love it when it's depicted like it is in games like Stormbringer or Magic World, or anything that has like a order, chaos, balance, anything that has that sort of fluctuating allegiances type of thing, where it's taking a more Murkakian look at the cosmos and the multiverse. Then it's great. You become an agent of chaos, an agent of order, or law, or whatnot. Average adventurers, or the sort of breadth of storylines and adventures that you can play in an F20 game, no, it really just gets in the way, and always has. I practically ignore it now. Okay, and then also ancestries. I like that they put orc in here, normalizes it, makes it a baseline, because if you think about it, this is the baseline rules. Everything else is an expansion on it. Even if it's material that was not an expansion before, it is now. And implicitly, that means that this is the basis. If you're a new player to it and you only buy this book, and that's all you have to access, that's all you know. And that's all you're working with. So, for example, orcs, like I said, now a PC race right away, baseline, commonplace. Well, not commonplace, but however much you want. But they're still just an ancestry like any other. I like the Leshy in there. They're cool plant people. That's fun. Why not? I like that they changed, I think they had to, ASMR and Tieflings and so on to Nephilim. That was a nice change. I appreciate that. I like the word Nephilim as well. One of the implicit world building things I like here, and like I said, like I probably got across, I do believe in implicit world building based on the rules. They are there to help tell the story that the designers intended. So while it was pointed out to me that the more complicated classes to remaster are the ones that would show up in Player Core 2 and so on, and uh, well, I guess Guns and Gears, the Magic Book, and so on and so forth. What I love is that there is no champion in Player Core. Doesn't mean I don't like them. Doesn't mean I wouldn't want them in there. But there's no champion. There's no alchemist or anything like that. And that's fine. I don't mind adding that in with some other book, but I don't have to have it in there. But witch is in here. Sorcerer is not, but witch is. So you have bard, cleric, druid, fighter, ranger, rogue, witch, and wizard. Your two magic users are witch and wizard, and I just love that that is the base idea, right? You kind of have high magic wizards in their colleges and schools or towers, and then the commonplace witches making deals and bargains and things like that with to gain their magic. Love it. It's great. Okay. The feats abilities of the classes are very clearly described, and they were in the original as well. You get the various traits attached to it, level, whether it's a reaction, how many actions it takes, yada yada. Nothing has changed there. All well put together. Very clear what is being said there and what you need from it. When you get to skills, yeah, skills, the skills. But they do talk about the different things you can do with the skills that, are a little more than what is actually implied by it. And this isn't necessarily new, but just so you know, it's things like recall knowledge or identify magic or earn income based off the skills. Great thing to have. Why not? Right. But even if you might have home rooted or hand waved it in the past, it is nice to have rules for it. Presumably someone has thought this through. I mean, they have, but and the skills are perfectly well organized. What happens at a varying level of success, sample tasks, special abilities like acrobatics as balance and tumble through, right? The sort of the things you can do and ways to do them, right? So if you're ever thinking like, how would I do this with this skill? Or as a GM, they want to do this with the skill. How do I represent it? You've got a good set of options here, like climbing or forcing something open. The feats are also, again, nothing too crazy here, but definitely well put together, and they're organized well. They are also organized by skill feat in 2 pages of tables, general feats, general skill feats, and so on. When you get to equipment, again, it's also just absolutely fine, same as it ever was. Uh, Talking about everything, of course, is great that there are quick equipment packages. That's one of the best things to ever come out of modern F20 gaming is you are a ranger. This is probably, or explorer. This is probably what you should have. This is the base cost for it. There. Now you don't have to go line by line. Do I need stakes, or like, do I really need rope? Do I need a oilcloth, et cetera, et cetera? And then it also, of course, has things about bulk and what to do with items. Again, nothing too new. If there are any specific rule changes, there's nothing that seems to be too outrageous. And of course, armor and weapons are described fine. Well, you do get the base ideas and rules of attack rolls for melee and ranged, and with a shield in the shield and weapons section, which is handy because why not have it there? It doesn't take up much space. definitely doesn't take up too much space. So why not keep that thing there? Then spells, same sort of idea. I thought I read something about them getting rid of the schools of magic, and I guess they did, or I was thinking of a different game. But the magical traditions are still here of arcane, divine, occult, and primal, the four essences of matter, spirit, mind, and life. If you want to, I've also got the link in the description to my review of Secrets of Magic, which is the best ever F20 magic book I've ever read, even looked at. And to be honest, I'm just talking about the first couple of sections. Um, when I say F20, I mean class level based games that go from level 1 to whatever, typically 20, but depends on the game. Because it incorporates the rules into the world so well that it doesn't seem weird or artificial. Wizards talk about spell levels, et cetera, just as an example. So check out my review there. Really great book. Bound to be some remastered stuff from it coming up soon, if not later. And you got the spells organized by tradition, but then also in short lists with short descriptions. But then in the actual rules, they're all alphabetical, so it's super easy to find what you're looking for. Okay. The end of spells. Oh, the end of spells is when we finally get to how to play the game. But again, makes sense. You've got the basic idea of the rules down. You've made your character up to this point. You've given them an ancestry, a class, gear, skills, feats, yada yada yada, spells. Boom, now you're here. Now is how to actually make this character play. Great organization. Great organization. There are safety rules there. I like that. That's great. Have them in there. Not safety rules, safety tools. A lot of it, even just being, talk about what might show up in the game. Is everyone cool with that? At its base. Here is where you get how to do actions, how to do the different modes of play, movement, attacks, and defense, how to do a check, skill check, attribute check, whatever, what they mean by criticals. What threw me a little bit, because I'm running this right now with a group running Season of Ghosts. Great adventure path, loving it. And then a couple of times when I went to reference things here, I go to rules, playing the game. I would jump ahead to actions when I needed attacks. So they do organize it a little differently, but let's be honest, you're going to be using attacks and defenses a lot. Why not have it up front in its own section? And then all the other actions a little later on. And so this does include things like damage rolls. It includes things like immunities and resistance and weakness, damage types, hit points, healing, dying, etc. And they all have nice big headers telling you what they're about. Then once you get through that, not that you're getting through that, it's not a burden by any stretch of the imagination. There are a number of other sections which are organized as their own distinct sections, which again I think is fantastic because these are things you're going to reference on more than one occasion. It's one thing to go, how do I detect someone sneaking up on me? How does the guard detect me sneaking up on them? Going to the index, looking up stealth, and so on, going to the skill, maybe cross-referencing a few things. Here you've got perception and detection, and it talks about light sources, and it talks about senses, and it talks about stealth and detecting creatures, and all that. That's great. It's a couple pages, but it has its own header and own section. It There thought has gone into what you use, how often you use it, and does it need its own distinct spot. You get a breakdown of the structure of encounter mode, of exploration mode, and the activities involved in that. You get your downtime mode, and they're all in their own sections. They're not extensive, but I should rephrase that. They're not expansive, but they're extensive. Like they cover a lot in just a couple of pages for each of them, the non-combat, so the non-encounter ones. You use what you need to use. If they want to expand on it later, they can. Then the appendix has conditions and the rules for conditions. That's also great because the last thing you want to be doing is going, is this condition under resistances? Is it under, is this under poison? If it's a poison based one, is this under attacks? Is this under magic? No. You need them all together. You need them in one set of pages where you can go, they're doomed. What does that mean? And you can just find it because you go to the appendix for it. So other things that I really like about what I like about the utility of this book, how I find it is very useful is I'm going to do my best to hold this up to the camera here. See that? Okay. It's not a table of contents. It's a table of headers, and it highlights the one you're on, and it tells you everything that's in there. Like it breaks it down. So up here, ancestors and backgrounds. When you're in that section, then boom, it's got the list of them. When you are in weapons, then it has a list of headers related to that. And what that means, of course, is even if you don't know the page you're going to, you can look and go, oh, I'm on this. It's way earlier than that, and jump ahead. It's not color coded, which I've seen some games do. And that's cool because that really helps if you're looking at the side of the book or just the top corners or whatever. But having that on every single right side page means that it's super easy to navigate around this book. I kind of find that writing RPG manuals, and we'll refer to them as manuals here when I'm talking about the rules books, the how-to books, is definitely an art. Not every book is fantastic at how they lay it out. Sometimes you do have to jump around a lot to learn things, to figure out specific rules and so on and so forth. But it is really critical to have a good one. And even though you can get by with one that's not so great, when you get one that's fantastic, it's worth noting. Secondly, related to that, like I said, I use PDFs, I use VTT stuff, and I use physical books. Physical books are a great commodity. They look great on your shelf. They're fun to hold. You flip through them and you get, if you've been doing this a long time, you kind of get that nostalgic bit. If you are playing in person with people, then it's even better because you just have the books in front and you hand them around, or they're all lined out on the table. It looks cool. But they're going up against PDFs and other means of doing this, D&D Beyond, or I would say they're going up against Demiplane, but Pathfinder's on Demiplane, so okay, fine. But in a PDF, you hit Control F or Command F and search for it, and then you'll find what you're looking for really quickly, faster than sort of flipping through the PDF, maybe even sometimes faster than picking up the book and flipping through it. So if you're printing a physical book, it's worth it to make sure that it is a solid product in and of itself because of what you're comparing it to. There are times I do just use PDFs, but frequently that's for games I only have in PDF. Nevertheless, I do like how fast that is, but I love physical books. And so I love my physical books to be as useful as the PDFs. So, Pathfinder 2nd Edition Player Core of the remastered version. Is it a useful book? Is it designed well in terms of content, layout, structure, all of that? I say yes. I think it's fantastic. If you want to get in all the rules, like I said, you can look at my other one for the Legacy version, or you can then pull up someone's video made back when this was announced, talking about all the differences there. I mean, there are people whose channels are devoted to Pathfinder and go way deeper into it than I am able to at this time in my life. So they can provide that stuff. But if we're talking about the physical book, hopefully this is the review for you. It's good. It's useful. It's handy. And that is how I'm going to kind of look at a number of these at this point, because especially for Pathfinder, because you can get that anywhere, Archives of Nethys, et cetera, Path Builder. Do you want to mention this was supplied for purposes of review by Paizo Publishing? I want to thank them for that, but also state that my opinions are not affected by the review material being provided. It is my own personal opinions. I don't change them because I got that sent to me. So, but again, thank you. That's awesome. And I hope you look into this. It is one of my, it's the game I wish I was playing more often. Not just because I would get more used to it, but because I do like F20 games. And I liked Third Ed when it came out of D&D. I didn't play Pathfinder 1. So I didn't get the sort of 3.75 feel. I loved 4th edition D&D. And to me, this takes the best parts. This emphasizes the parts that were best about those two editions. It has the customization and expansiveness of 3rd edition, and it has the interesting tactical gameplay of 4th. It is its own game. I'm not trying to say it's just those two mashed together, but it does in one game what I thought those two did great in 2 games. So check it out. Apparently the math is fantastic and everything works together superbly. We're having a blast with it so far. And it's great for RP games, and it's great for combat games and adventure games and all that. So, physical book of Pathfinder Player Core, awesome. Is it a great game? Yeah, definitely check it out if you haven't already. It's a 700-pound gorilla, 800-pound being D&D. So, until next time, my name is Simon. I am the host of this channel here. Please, if you enjoyed this, like and subscribe so that you are notified upon new uploads. And if you have any thoughts on the video, leave them in the comments below, because that would be cool. We can chat about these things. If you don't like my take on it, say so. If you love my take on it, also say so, and then I might disagree with you. We can only see. Until next time, stay safe and be great to each other.